This is where the story really starts.
Welcome to Dave's Take. Today we're talking about Weapons, the new film from the director and writer of Barbarian. So I don't really want to go into the plot of Weapons because I feel like you should go into this film completely surprised, not know much about the film, but I do recommend watching this minute teaser that came out, I think, last year. That is pretty much all you need to know for this film, and if you're not hooked by that teaser, I don't know what will hook you. As I said before, this is the same writer-director as Barbarian. That is Zach Krieger. He also is from The Whitest Kids You Know, which it's always fun to see someone from comedy transition to horror and be really good at it. But there's a lot that goes into the background story of this film being made. To paraphrase and kind of sum it up, basically, Zach Krieger wrote a script. Every studio loved it. Jordan Peele loved it so much he begged Universal to get the rights to this script. Not that he would direct it or anything, he would just help produce it with Zach Krieger. And there was this bidding war, and Universal, I think, was like $7 million short. And I think Jordan Peele was like, I'll pay it out of pocket, or his production company will, just to get the rights to this movie. And Universal said no because they felt like this movie wasn't marketable or something like that. And Jordan Peele and Zach Krieger had the same agent, so Jordan Peele ended up firing his agent over this or something along those lines. Long story short, it sounds like Jordan Peele, who I think is a very creative and intelligent filmmaker, was upset that he couldn't help make this movie. So naturally, I had high expectations for Weapons, and I'm happy to say this film succeeded my expectations. This is an absolute blast of a movie. I sort of had an idea of what to expect from this film because I saw Barbarian. The tone of that film, it's suspenseful, it's a mystery, it's a thriller, there's horror elements in it, but it's also very funny and it's paced extremely well. So I pictured Weapons like that. But Weapons did surprise me. This film went in directions I had no idea where the film was going, and I mean that in a really positive way. This film reminded me of Pulp Fiction, and that is incredibly high praise. A lot of things in this film happen non-linear, and you see it from different perspectives, from different characters, kind of like in Barbarian in a way, but this really feels like it's all over the map. But it's all crafted together so well that you do get this cohesive narrative throughout the film. And having this non-linear storytelling makes this film way more fun, way more interesting, and way more unpredictable. There's not one moment in this film I felt bored. Maybe it was because I'm just interested by this premise and they set it up extremely well in this film. But the way the sequences were shot, edited, the characters, the dialogue, it all worked together perfectly. And yes, there's great setup here. There's a lot they have to set up when it comes to what's going on in this town, these characters, where characters are at. And like I said before, I don't think the setup or anything like that is boring, but the film does reward you with sticking with it. And you could just tell that Zach Krieger was in the zone when he was making this movie. This film feels like it was crafted by someone who had an excellent, amazing idea for a movie and he wants to tell the world. Like, I'm not kidding. From like a nerdy film standpoint, there are shots that are just incredible here. Some sequences that have great setup when it comes to the sound design and where the camera wants you to look. And it doesn't feel like there's any sort of cheap scares or cheap jump scares or anything like that in the film. It all feels like it's thought out and crafted amazingly. And yes, this film is technically a horror movie, but the film definitely leans more into the mystery thriller aspects of this story. But there's definitely horror there. Don't get me wrong. There's some gruesome shit that happens in this movie. But the mystery and the thriller aspects of this film was so interesting and so well put together and presented to the audience that I was really mesmerized throughout the whole entire film. I really wanted to know what's happening next. But then on top of that, there is this layer of comedy to this film that is so well executed. This film is hilarious. This is one of the funnier films I've seen in a while. And that could turn some people off. I will warn you, if you're looking for like the scariest movie ever that takes itself very seriously and all of that, you're going to be disappointed by Weapons. This film definitely feels more like Barbarian. There are scary elements, there are horror elements, there are thriller elements, all of that, but there is a comedy aspect to it. Even in the scenes that are supposed to be really scary, there is some subtle comedy thrown in there. But Zach Krieger just has such a grip on this story and how he wants to tell it that the comedy does work even in the more serious scenes. I can see other filmmakers trying to do this, and it just comes off as stupid. And all the performances lean into those elements as well and do such a great job. Julia Gardner is incredible here. She's having a great summer with this and Fantastic Four. Her character is probably the most interesting out of all of them. There are some layers to her character, but when things start happening, her reactions to things are sometimes really terrifying, but then she has subtle moments where it's very funny as well. Just like Josh Brolin, there's a lot happening with his character. He wants to figure out where his kid is, and he'll do anything to get there, but there are moments where his ways of getting to that sort of conclusion, it's very funny how he figures out a way to do something. There's also some great subtle visual storytelling here. There are plot devices that are introduced, and they aren't really explained to us. They're sort of shown to us how they work, and you completely understand it, and you completely buy it. And I'm not going to go into any spoilers here, so I don't want to get into the details of the plot or the ending or anything like that, but there's a sequence in here, I think it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, seriously, this disturbing horror, thriller, mystery movie had one of the funniest sequences I've ever seen in a movie. Definitely that I've seen in theaters. I haven't laughed that hard in a theater in a very long time. And to wrap this all up, I just gotta say, this is one of the more fun movie experiences I've had in a long time. If you could see Weapons in a crowded theater like opening night, I think you'll have a great time. If you're looking for a super serious, very dark, scary horror movie, you will be disappointed probably. But this film was such a perfect blend of horror, mystery, thriller, comedy. It all comes together so well that it is one of the more fun movies I've seen in a while. I'm going to give Weapons 9.5 Davey Daves. Seriously, like halfway through the movie, there was a sequence or sequences. I was watching it feeling like I was watching some weird, fucked up horror version of Pulp Fiction. So I can see why Jordan Peele was upset that he was not able to work on this movie, because this seems like it was up his alley. So, Weapons. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Davey Dave's Takes.